Hey everyone, it's James from James's Hobby Zone / Agent Shield, New England. Yes, I did just get out of work. Well, I got out of work at like 2:30, almost. No, what time did I get out of work? Did I clock out? I don't even remember. So, alright, so today is going to be a final review. If you're all following me on Instagram, you would see that I posted on Instagram of the German half track that I just finished. This I'm going to be a little more descriptive. Instead of kind of like saying what I used, I'm going to show you what I actually used, so you kind of get the the idea of what I used to do this half track. So the finished review today is going to be on the Dragon Kit 1/35 scale Sdkfz 251 German half track. It's the La Sahat. I don't know. It's basically the Hanomag, the Hanomag, except smaller. That's it. So, sorry about that. I grabbed something to drink when I was on my way home, and I just drank a little sip of it before, and I'm still coughing from it because I started choking on on the drink. But also, let's actually get down to the review so you guys can see what I did. All right, everyone. So there it is. This is the German half track. So it's all nice and dry. I let it dry overnight and everything. So hopefully this will go in a diorama with the other half track that I already built and the other one that I still have to finish building. So I'm still debating if I'm going to put an antenna, because if you look right here, there's the mount for the antenna, but it's got a short antenna. I like the long. I'm a long antenna person, so I might do that. I don't know. I'm still debating. So a little bit of close up of the weathering I did on the tracks. And back there, a little bit of mud. Looks like I put a little too much rust in the back and just plopped it on really quick, but so. All right, so what I did here is, as I was building, obviously, I ran into a little bit of problems with the link and link tracks. I had already put a good amount on this half track before I started working with the link and link tracks, so it was a little bit difficult to get them on. So if you look really carefully, you'd have to be a expert, but you could kind of see how the tracks are not really bent in a way that they're the best I can do for my very first time dealing with link. Well, my second time dealing with link and link tracks and actually getting them to go on. So first thing first that I did, here's everything I used. The only thing I didn't put out was the sandpaper. This is the sanding sticks, the sanding sponges or sanding spongy sticks that I used. So first thing I did after I put it all together and got it ready, obviously I used this to sand everything that I needed to sand. to kind of make it smooth. And then what I did is I used a red oxide fine surface primer from Tamiya. The red oxide is great because also during World War II, this is the color of what the Germans were using to prime all their tanks and half tracks and cannons and everything that I think they even used it on their aircraft. They used the red oxide paint, but this is what they were using. And then at the end of the war, they were just sending out tanks with the red oxide paint on them, and that was it. So this is the primer I used. All the paints that I used were this one's upside down because there's still a little paint left in it, but I'll flip it really quick. It's Model Air dark yellow. I used Armor Brown. For the brown that is actually in the half track for there. There was I used a German gray, but I think I put it away. But if you look at it really carefully, that's not green. That's actually gray. I used a gray for it. And that's what I used for the other bits of camouflage was the gray. So then after all that was all painted and everything was dry, I installed obviously all the little stuff and then put it together. There was some little fit issue around this area right here where there was a small gap. So I had to fill it in with the Vallejo plastic putty. After the Vallejo plastic putty battery mode, that's crazy. After the plastic putty dried, I then used Mr. Servicer 1000, painted under here, sanded it nice and smooth, make sure it was as smooth as possible, and then I resprayed it in certain areas with the yellow and then touched it up with a little bit of the other colors. After it all dried, I then used Tamiya TS13 clear coat, sprayed it 2 times, so it gave it a good thick clear to actually cover up the. Hold on, I gotta plug my phone in before my camera in before it dies. And to seal in the paint, and then I started putting on the decals after it dried. The solutions that I did for the decals was the Micro Set and Micro Sol from Micro Scale Industries. Micro Set went on first to give the decal a good stick, and then Micro Sol was to actually melt it down and make it conform to rivet lines, welding lines, everything. After all the decals were dry, I then again sprayed it with the TS13, let it dry, and then I proceeded to use TS80, which is a flat clear from Tamiya. I basically dulled out the glossy clear coat. It sealed in the decals even further, and then that was it. And then I ended up working with all the weathering. It was weathering time. I used African dust from Ammo MIG, to simulate all the sand and dust on the half track. Then I used the rust streaks. As you can see, spread it out. There's some rust streaks here. There's a little more rust streaks on the others, on the back, and on the side. There's some rust streaks. And then I also, what I did is I used Andy's Hobbies headquarters rust color, and I put that on for the half track, for the tracks, and then I proceed to actually put some rust color onto the tracks. I put a little bit of rust color on the tracks and on the wheels, put a little rust color there, and then what I did after, as you can see, I started putting a little bit of rust inside, up top, in between, and then I took the other one, which was AK Interactive Engine Oil, and obviously that's AK Interactive Rust Streaks, but I took the AK Engine Oil, kind of started to add a little bit of to simulate gear oil that's coming out of the tracks, all the tracks, the track wheels, the return roller, the drive sprocket, you know, having a little bit of grease coming out of there. And I put a little bit more there. I also put some, as you can see at the bottom, for like the simulated oil leak. And then I put more rust streaking around the tracks. And then the last thing I started doing with the tracks and the wheels is I picked up European acrylic splash mud and from Vallejo, and I actually started to splash. I started to kind of put it all around this area to kind of simulate some mud, like as if they just went through mud. And then I glued in. I rubbed the African dust as much as I could on the guns, and then glued it all together, and then I finished it. That's it. That's what I did with this half track. So now the only thing is I don't know. I put all, there was the weathering I wanted to do with it, but the unit that that I did this half track for, it's a different paint scheme. I just wanted to do a different paint scheme compared to having the Germans like solid color that they always had, like solid dark yellow, solid Panzer gray, and then you had the solid Panzer gray with blotches of dark yellow. So I wanted to kind of do up a paint scheme like that to match the rest of my my German tanks. So, but the units that this half track is for is the 24th Panzer Division, Eastern Front, autumn of 1942. So, I think the 24th, I think they were just getting out of Africa, so I think they ended up going, and if I can remember, I think the 24th Panzer Division ended up going to the Eastern Front, and they pretty much they ended up getting like destroyed by the Russians. And then there was another unit that ended up being on Normandy and survived throughout the entire war. And it was all Erwin Rommel's units. So, but yeah, the markings are for the 24th Panzer Division. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys like it. I mean, I really like how it came out. I know probably some rivet counters would probably be like, oh, well, that's wrong and this wrong, but I mean, this is my half track. This is my model. I think I did a really good job, and I can't wait to do a diorama with it. I know there's no driver in it because the driver didn't want to fit after I put it together. I was supposed to put the driver in first, then put the top part of the half track on, but so I'll figure out. I'm actually going to take the driver that goes with this one. I'm going to put it in the other half track. So, all right, let's get this back to me. All right, everyone, that was my final review for the German half track, the Sdkfz 251. And I hope you really enjoyed that, how that model came out. I know I enjoyed it, how it came out. Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff on the kit that was like, but I do realize that dragon kits are a little complicated, and from what I've read with what I've actually watched and seen with a lot of videos on dragon kits, that their instructions don't really make sense sometimes. Excuse me. And they don't really make sense sometimes, and they got a lot of spare parts that have never been used. So, and but like I said, I like how it came out. It came out really nice. I'm glad that my old coworker from Atlantic, gave me this kit. So he was just trying to downsize, and he gave me the Tiger 1 that you've seen, the Panther tank that you've seen. I do have another half track. He gave me this half track that I just finished, and I have another half track from the AFV Club, and a railway car, and it's a car that's a flat car that you put like a vehicle on it or something, or you can mount or the Germans had like anti-aircraft defense on it, so when they were transporting stuff, they would have these anti-aircraft defense on these flat cars for protection, or they put like a tire tank on it or something. So, but yeah, he gave me that one, so we'll see what's next on the table. I do right now. I think that one's done. That one's definitely done. So I'll be putting that one away in the box or in the tote that I'm going to put it in. My next one is that I'm working on, that hopefully I could get it finished before I move to Florida. If not, it'll go in the tote half finished, but it's the monogram A10 Warthog that one of my coworkers from Connecticut gave me, that I kind of pulled it all apart, put it all back together, fixed all the seam lines, and and gave it, right now it's got two colors on it for the camouflage, but there's a third one that I'm going to be putting on that I don't even know where the bottle went. Oh, there's the bottle. The bottle's over there. That I'm trying to replicate the A10 demo team that's flying around. They're flying their Vietnam, the Vietnam dedication A10. So I'm going to try to replicate that one as best as I can. Let's see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it right now. I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to do a video sometime in the future. A lady that goes around to like estate sales and stuff. Well, she picked up these two very large banners. Well, they are banners, but they're cloth. And they're actually from Lockheed Martin. The only thing I could think of is these banners were were made for the defense conventions. So when Lockheed Martin was like, "Oh, hey, here's our new product," you pitch it to all the you pitch it all to all the countries out there and see if any of the countries want to purchase what you have. So I know you all remember that I posted a video of the Black Eagles T-50B. Well, the banner that I got has two T-58s, 250As on the banner, and they're in United States colors. They're in that gray, that dark gray and light gray colors, and it says Lockheed Martin on it. It is so awesome, and she's got another one that she said she'd sell to me for a good price. She'll give me a good deal on it if I take the other one as well. I got one already. This one cost me $85. It's 8 feet tall and 12 feet long. It's a big banner. She says it covers up an entire wall. So I think I'm definitely going to keep that, and I think I am going to go after the other one before I leave, because she's in Lewiston, Texas. Not Lewiston, Texas. Louisville, Texas. Sorry guys. I know you're from, any of you guys from Texas. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to screw that one up. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get that other one, and hopefully I'll do a video on it in the future on both of them, and you'll be able to see how big they are. They're pretty awesome. I like them a lot, and the picture on it is just, the T-50A just looks absolutely gorgeous on these banners. And a little history behind the T-50A that I did find out is that it was a combination of both Lockheed Martin and a South Korean aerospace company. I guess they were trying to team together to get a good trainer aircraft that could also be a fighter aircraft for South Korea. And the T-50 was the winner. And I'm surprised that the United States didn't go after this T-50 to replace the aging T-38s that constantly break or they start to fail. There was a story, actually there was a day I came into work at Atlantic in San Antonio, and one of my coworkers brought me down to a T-38 that I was like, oh cool, I'll get up close personal, I'll snap some photos. And he's like, no, you can't snap any photos. And I'm like, well, why? He's like, because you'll see when I get there. Found out that the pilot, the trainee or the cadet, and the instructor pilot, they were flying. They did a 9G turn, and the elevator snapped off. So some farmer got an elevator in his yard in San Antonio, probably, from a T-38, and it sent the aircraft into a barrel roll. Luckily, the instructor was able to get in control of the T-38 and land it. So that was a lucky day for those two pilots. But yeah, I mean, the T-38s are aging, they're breaking down, they're getting harder and harder to get parts. I mean, how many's left in the boneyard? So, but these T-50s would have been absolutely perfect, but it looks like, I think now, I don't think Lockheed Martin got into the competition to get the contract for the trainers. I think they didn't want to do it anymore. But I think Boeing now has the contract for the newest one to train the 6th generation pilots to fly. but we're going to be working on 7th generation aircraft, so who knows what's going to happen. But enough about that. Before I talk you guys' ears off. Alright, everyone. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching my videos. I hope you liked this one. If you did, hit the like button once. If you didn't, hit the like button twice, so I know. And keep modeling on. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.